Hi, welcome back to the workshop for episode 11 of the Jurgs Cup Base 6 build. And in this episode, we're going to be doing all of the routing that's left on the body. There's quite a lot. In the last episode, we got the neck pocket cut, and that's gone very well. It's a nice tight fit, but not so tight that when we get the finish on both the body and the neck, we're going to have issues getting it in. There is a tiny little bit of wriggle room. However, there is also a problem because we've got a bunch of excess material on this side of the neck pocket. So that needs to go. We need to kind of trim that down and blend that in nicely with the curve as it comes into the neck pocket there. So that needs doing. And also in this episode, I'd like to get all the other major work done on the body. So I want to get the two pickups routed out, and obviously we prepared the template for that last time. We've got a cavity to cut for the switch. We need to fit the tailpiece tremolo unit, and we prepared a template for that as well last time. And finally, I want to put the cavity in down here for the controls that we covered by this plate. However, to do that, I need to find a way to make this all fit nicely, and then I have to modify this template again to accommodate that. Now I think the way I'm going to do that is to kind of move this a little bit further away than it's shown on the drawing that I've created. Keep that nice and parallel to the edge there, and then I can blend this template in to fit and to make that work properly. But that's all for a bit later on. The first thing I'm going to tackle is to get this bit of the neck pocket cleaned up, and to do that I'm simply going to break out the bobbin sander, put the biggest bobbin I can get away with on it, and then just sand this down until it basically meets the route from about there onwards, and then we can clean that up, blend it in, make it all look nice and lovely. Okay, so that's cleaned off now. A little bit of tidying up work to do, but we can get that in the final sanding, and that looks a hell of a lot better already. So that's that bit done for the time being. So next up, I think I am going to put in the route for the tremolo. And to do that, I need to set everything up again. I need to take some measurements off my drawing from where the bridge goes to where the tremolo starts. I've got a rough idea of where it needs to be, and then we can get that done. And what the drawing shows me is that it's actually quite close. The start of the plate here on the tremolo is about 5mm back from the edge of this scratch plate. However, we're not routing for that, we're routing for this plate here, and that is about 18mm back from the start of there. So realistically, I think to allow a little bit of room for error, I need to come back about 15mm from there. And that is where we need to place our template. So we'll get that marked out. Again, we just need to hog out the waste with a force and a bit till we're somewhere near, and then we can route this in and get it down to depth. Now initially I said I was going to route to the depth of the tremolo arm holder bit, and then drill a separate relief hole in for this adjuster, but I think what I'm actually going to do, thinking about it, is just route the whole thing to that depth and just remove one operation from the process. So I'll now mark this up properly, and we can get it to the drill press, hog out some of that waste and break out the router. Okay, so there's the route for the tremolo. It's gone very nicely. It's nice and clean, and that all seems to be fitting absolutely fine. So no trouble with that at all. So next up from there, I'm going to get the pick guard template back on. We can mark out for the pickups and for the switch, and we can get all the material removed for those as well. Okay, so that's the switch and the pickup routes done. All went okay, not got a problem with any of that. So next up is we need to do something about fitting up this control plate, and it isn't the same as the one that was on the guitar that I did the drawings from, so we're going to have to amend this slightly. So I think first of all I'm going to just draw this line in through here, because that's where I want this to kind of finish, and then it's just a matter of positioning it somewhere that I think is going to look good. And I think that is it. So I'm going to mark that on the template, and we'll just get that whipped off on the bandsaw and we can see what that looks like. It might mean that we just have to do a little bit of tweaking to make it look spot on, but I think that is going to look pretty much as we want it. So I'll just whip that off camera and then we can check it. And I think that actually looks really good. It all flows quite nicely. I might just have to kind of tweak this template ever so slightly just to get it a little bit nicer, but I think on the whole that is looking good. So next up we need to make yet another template for this route in here, but luckily in good old-fashioned Blue Peter style, here's one I prepared earlier. So once again I'll just do this off camera. I'll route out the waste, stick the template on with masking tape and super glue, get the router on it and get it down to depth. Okay, so that's all the routes done. I'm very happy with them. It is one of the trickier parts of the build. Could have gone horribly wrong and it didn't, so I'm really happy with that. However, it's not the whole story because there is a little bit more we need to do. We need to get the pickup wires over to the switch, and then we need to get the wire from the switch over to the control panel. And if I was just going, say, from the pickups to the control panel, I probably would just drill them. But because this is a little bit more complicated, I'm going to have to do things a little bit differently. What I intend to do is I'm going to mark around, only roughly, where my pick guard goes, so I have a reference of where I can and can't route, and I'm going to route a slot somewhere in here, and that will allow me then to drill through from the pickups, and then I've got somewhere for all of my wires to run. And I don't need anything extravagant to do that. I just need a straight bit of board that I can use as a template, such as this. And I think, looking at it, I am actually going to go right the way through from the switch through to the control cavity. I'm just going to route a 1/2 inch channel all the way through there. That looks about square, so that will do for me. And while I'm at it, I think I'm just going to route channels from the pickups through to there as well. Okay, and there's those little channels routed out, and I think that's gone okay. I did have to do a little bit of an amendment there. I mentioned on an Instagram post that this wood was cutting like butter. One of my regular viewers, PJ, commented that it does cut into butter until it explodes like shrapnel, and this little section did explode a little bit, so I've just kind of widened that out to make it look a bit neater. I might need to do a little bit of work on these channels coming out of the pickups just to get the wires through without filing on the covers, but I'm sure that will be kind of a very minor amendment to that. So all in all, very happy with that. Next up is that we need to position the bridge on here. But to do that, I need to do a bit of setup work, which means properly attaching the neck for the first time. So in the next episode, we'll drop back onto the neck and get some more work done on that. So until then, don't forget to hit that like button if you've enjoyed this, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.